Always helps if we have a mic. All right, let's start again. It always, takes a lot longer to build these things than one thinks, regardless of what they say or how much experience you have. You create your own obstacles and maybe run into some legitimate ones along the way. So anyway, we're wrapping up our, I guess this makes part 10 of our Prusa Core One Plus kit build. So had some fun, had some frustration, was excited to see how the new thing turned out. Honestly, it was kind of an impulse purchase, really didn't research too much about it, but I could tell by the design it was, very different. So then kind of the direct feed, open air things we've had before, or even, the Prusa XL, which, has an enclosure, but kind of a coat, so to speak. And so anyway, this looked like a very intense build on, being similar to the Bamboo. So I wanted to try it out. I made a lot of mistakes building it for sure. Some was just, trying to assume my new steps, getting through it, basically building off of the pictures, which I like to do. Some of it was, I had the original core instructions. And to be honest, I'm not quite sure how I got there, if that was on me or on Prusa. I thought I scanned the QR code that came on the instructions, kind of the welcome flyer out of the box, as I ordered the Plus kit. But it either took me there or maybe I thought I knew better and went to Prusa. I can't quite recall, to be fair. But anyway, be it as it may, I ended up on the original Prusa, Core One build document. So things were a little bit different, obviously not that different. I was able to figure it out pretty well. If I would have realized, I guess I wasn't on the correct set of build instructions, it would have saved me a little bit of steps and maybe confusion. I noticed that when I got to, I don't remember what step it was, maybe the camera or something like that, but that I wasn't on there. Anyway, there's still a few things out there, a lot of the mistakes were mine that I learned later. Right now I've been able to successfully print a benchy, so that's pretty sweet. I will say the aesthetics are really cool with the Bamboo. It's a little bit bigger than, like, let's say the standard X1 carbon from Bamboo, at least a chamber size, but it's a little deceiving because the print volume, I think, I haven't actually looked at the specs, but probably the same or a little bit smaller. The enclosure of the Prusa is larger, or at least taller, but it has some good space-saving indents and things on the side where, like, your spool goes and things, which ultimately, shrinks your internal build volume. But anyway, cool. Anyway, the lights, everything is a lot brighter. Bamboo kind of has that smoked front glass, at least on the X1 carbons I run. And my H2S is a laser one, so it has a green door. Yeah, it just really, it looks cool. It's really well lit up. And, it doesn't have an AMS like my other Bamboos, so I'm able to see through the top. Again, my own doing. But the first thing I noticed, aside from, hey, it actually looks cool, it has good, curb appeal, or shelf appeal, whatever you want to call it, is it printed super fast. It actually surprised me because, before this Core One, the newest thing I had was the Prusa X1, XL, there we go. Too many X's in the mix. But the Prusa XL. So I built that and then went back and kind of retrofit the enclosure kit from Prusa. So that was kind of my experience. I use that one frequently for mostly bigger build volume. Gives me some fits, it's not as dynamic as the Bamboo printers in general. But this Core One surprised me. It's got a lot more to it. I will say the things I'll put out there that I think as the dust settled definitely weren't on me as a builder were the top vent system has a lot of confusion. There's a mechanical arm on the extruder assembly as it goes by, just a printed part from the printed parts package that goes by there and literally moves the lever on the plexiglass. It's a grill that slides back and forth, and the instructions say to orient it one way, and there's instructions out there for the Core One, the Core One Plus, kind of combo. And then there's also a whole bunch of custom stuff and a ton of stuff on Reddit, a ton of stuff on the Prusa forums, a ton of stuff on printables. Long story short is there's a ton of confusion because it seems like the consensus is that the Prusa instructions to date tell you to put the mechanical lever that opens the vent for the Prusa One Core Plus. It's backwards in the instructions. So a lot of people making different ones, or you can flip it, of course, or making modifications. The other big one I would say that was definitely on kind of Prusa, to improve for the future is that fan, the exhaust fans in the back of the chamber. There's that was not just me. You get on Google or hit ChatGPT up, and there's like endless discussion on solutions, remedies, and things. Some people just have concerns because the XY belts in the back where those exhaust fans come are real close. Some touch the screws, some touch the grill guard. Some are, a lot of them come in contact with that zip tie that we put in that holds the thermistor kind of in the open enclosure there. Yeah, I'm talking to the camera because I'm not having to build stuff. So I would say that's kind of what I would say. Responding to some smart guy in the chat here. But I'm finally looking at the camera when I talk. I'm not building anything, but I do have a benchy to fidget with that came out of the Prusa Core One Plus. Anyway, so those would be the two big things. I would say the instructions, and we need some clarity on the vent, the mechanical vent on top, and then there just seems to be a design change, I think, for the exhaust fans in the back. People do different things. You get the zip tie tighter. They eliminate the zip tie. They print a thinner grill guard. People eliminate it. There's ways to flatten things out, readjust. Either you have a little bit of positioning play back there with the XY up vertical alignment, as well as you have belt tension and some of that. But anyway, there's a bunch of solutions. It's not a deal breaker. We're just being critical. Like, we can always find something to complain about, right? So I'm not dogging Prusa. I think they've built a really cool product, really cool brand, really cool community. I'm a huge fan, especially their OG stuff. I still have some adjustments to do, I think, on my benchy's a little sloppy, but I chalked that up to probably some more calibration and things I need to do. But it printed super fast, which I have never seen that kind of speed out of a Bamboo. It was Prusa speed, out of a Prusa. It was Bamboo speed, rather. So at least at first glance, that really surprised me. And I know part of the rite of passage here for any printer is to print the benchy as quick as possible. So I know there's some special settings in there for that. But all I have left to really sort, I think I got everything fixed on mine. I tried to rock, like I said, and do some fine tuning. My filament sensor, that's when I realized actually that I didn't have the right instructions. My filament sensor was very different on parts, magnet placement, everything. But I think my filament sensor is working. It was kind of too stiff. I took it back apart last night, made some adjustments. It feels like the clutch feels good on it now. I can feel mechanically the ball moving and the lever in there. For some reason, I'm unable to calibrate that. So I don't know if I got a loose wire, if there's something mechanically, which I don't think there is now since I double checked, but I need to get my filament sensor to work. But aside from that, I was able to home the machine, pass all the other tests, basically. Run through the wizards and, do the belt tension test. I know earlier in the build I talked about Prusa. I remember when they first came out with the app that would do the, frequency of the belt tuning, which was really cool. That is kind of baked in now to their printers. There's a few ways to do it manually, and then it is built into their new Prusa app. Again, I'm really happy they finally got an app. It's nice. I use Prusa Connect. I have 3 printers on there that are native to Prusa Connect. I have the MK4, the first MK4, of course, and they right away came out with an S, which I was like, I should have waited. But I have the original MK4. I have the Prusa original XL, and then thankfully I waited, and now I have the Core One Plus. So seems like they always roll it out hot and heavy, and then there's an update. But anyway, so that's kind of my final thoughts. I think everything else is usually user error, me slowing down to read instructions, or what have you. So one thing I always forget when I build the Prusa printers is to, when you're using their official instructions, look at the comments. They have contents to where you can expand and like have your index. And there's also a section for comments. And the comments will save your bacon a lot of times. There's always some like golden guy that you appreciate that's usually like one per build that's like, hey, the pictures or the perspective's not quite clear, or the guy's just like, hey, the instructions are backwards or whatever. And if you take the time to look at those, they can really speed things along. What usually happens with me is I learned it the hard way, to remember the comments, and what that is something doesn't look right. You know, like I was struggling yesterday with that manual exhaust lever because it didn't make sense. And so I go out to Google or I go out to ChatGPT or what have you, Reddit, and pretty soon you find a link back to the original instructions, and the guys are like, look at the comments. And I'm like right back where I started, and I just needed to like expand the comments. And it's like the answer's there, and everybody's just referenced that throughout the internet. So I'm just like, oh, geez. So usually at that point on, moving forward, I leave the comments open because they're, you know, only usually a few that float to the top, and they're worth it. So see what we got in the chat here. Proud of talking to the camera. Any recommendations for Prusa from a 3D printing expert? I think I threw them out there. You know, make an adjustment to the designs in the back for the exhaust fan. Mine, I think, are like not touching, but just pretty much almost touching. So I'm gonna just kind of monitor it. If I need to make some changes, I will. But that, and I think just they do a really good job on instructions. They do an amazing job on hardware labeling. But just, I think really what it boils down for me is, not even if it was my mistake this time and I ended up on the wrong build instructions, there needs to be a cleaner way to find answers to some of these things. I get it's a maker community, and I get there's a lot of like customization and stuff, but I feel like all the answers are out there, even Prusa provided a lot of times. Sometimes I let the community just sort it out. But I think just being a little more intentional about instructions and like the vents. Like I haven't seen that they went back and corrected the vent issue, the mechanical vent issue. I think everybody knows that has one. They've figured it out by now one way or another. But whether it's a custom solution, they got on printables, they just do it manually because you can open and shut it manually. And they said, heck with it, I only print PLA. So I'm just going to, you know, leave it open because generally you only close it on like, you know, ABS or things like that, higher temp printing. But yeah, I think it was just, they do a good job on instructions, but I think their updates or any supplemental things need to be a lot more clear and in your face because we're builders, we're visual, we like to work with our hands, not talk to the camera. So I think having that slap us in the face, and they do that somewhat in their instructions already, real critical parts where they must get a lot of returns or a lot of customer service tickets, which have saved me before, because again, I'm a visual builder, but it's like, hey, did you check this? Hey, did you check this? Hey, idiot, check this, you know, and there's like exclamation marks, and it's like, I think it said it 3 times to me, and I finally saw it. So those have saved me, I think, at least once on each build. So I think, not that, you know, you got to beat us over the head with it, but I think just making it really clear. I think it's the updates. I think it's the updates and the new information. So, but yeah, it's the only grievances I got. Exhaust fans in the back and the mechanical vent at the top, all solvable, but not, you know, kind of clear as mud as far as how you get to the finish line on that. So anyway, not a deal breaker. I'm excited to use it. I need to do a little tweaking. Here's a bright orange benchy for you. I could have went black or orange. I went, you know, went straight up orange. So, yep, we'll see if she floats. That's it for now. We're on to, I'm gonna set the stage here for, I pushed a button, I don't know what it did. we're going to set the stage here for to do some, I don't like unboxing. There's a lot of unboxing videos out there, but we're going to open some new Formlabs stuff. Not really going to go step by step on, you know, oh, look at this packing in this box. And we're just going to kind of like chew into it like a, you know, wild animal. Get it out. We want to get to the good stuff. To kind of check it out, see what we got to do, and we're going to hop into making a really cool product. We already have a kind of a paid commercial product, which inspired this build because we're using an Anycubic one, and we want to up our game. So, formlabs in the chat. So that's all I got. Hopefully there's something in the 10-part video that will provide somebody some value other than listening to me drone on and drool. So my camera's going in and out and all that. But anyway, hopefully there's some value out there. It'll get better as we go. One reason we kind of powered through that was to kind of get our studio set, work through some of the bugs, some of our technical issues, learn to talk to the camera, all that fun stuff. So hopefully we got some of that out of the way, and we can move on to bigger and better things.